Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt.
This is AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Gareth, thank you very much for joining me with a mic. First time on Zoom I've had someone use a mic.
Well, you know, we've got to bring a bit of professionalism to proceedings when we're talking about the heavyweights, my friend. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yourself? All good?
Well, a bit shattered after last night. You know, up till about whatever it was, silly o'clock, Halloween o'clock, with all the ghouls and ghosts, with so much fight action going on last night. It was unbelievable. And, you know, a lot of movement around the fight world last night with things happening.
Let's start with the heavyweights. Of course, here in London, we had Alexander Usyk in his second heavyweight fight, beating Derek Chisora. What did you make of Usyk's performance? And did we learn anything new about Usyk last night, Gareth?
Well, in broad terms, and having looked over it, given the fact that Usyk gave himself a 3 out of 10 last night, and I appreciate him doing that. Yes, he was agile, nimble. His punch selection was great. He tired Derek by moving and never really being a static target. But there's a question mark over the power that he has at heavyweight for me. He hit Derek with quite a lot of shots, but they just didn't seem to have that explosive one-punch power that David Haye used to have, or, you know, or Evander Holyfield had, with that kind of like heavy power that Holyfield had. And I mention those two, of course, because they stepped up from the cruiserweight division to win world heavyweight title fights. Look, he's a brilliant boxer. He went 12 rounds with a very rugged, mature heavyweight who's on a bit of a tear, who's got a bit of momentum. And Derek meant business. His waist was tiny. He looked in great shape. It was a grinding battle in many ways. But I'd like to have seen Usyk show that he could get Derek out of there, you know? So I just think there's no question mark about his abilities, about that he can step up to heavyweight. But Umar, honestly, and I really am only being honest, I don't see him having the kind of power that can deal with the top two guys in the division, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Even Dillian White might be a handful for him with this size, even though Usyk's going to be able to do a similar kind of thing with Dillian and move and sway and be smart from that southpaw stance of his.
Okay, interesting thoughts. What about you included Fury, Joshua, and White in that? What about Deontay Wilder? We'll come onto the video in a second, but what about? I don't think the fight will happen, but a fight between Wilder and Usyk. Do you think Usyk has a chance against Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, I do. I do think he does. Because again, I think he can outbox Wilder in a different kind of way. I mean, it's a very messy fight, that one, because Usyk's on the outside and Wilder's trying to hit him with that big right hand. It's a very weird fight, and it could be a lot of standoff in that. It could be David Haye against Valuev all over again, Nuremberg, nearly a decade ago, where so they're both just picking their punches. I mean, obviously, Deontay Wilder's nothing like Nikolai Valuev, but I just mean, I don't think it'll be an action-packed fight. Yes, an odd fight. It may well happen. If there's enough money, it'll definitely happen. But I do think, if we're honest, there's question marks. Not about Usyk's ability, but about whether in this era, perhaps, at this moment, whether those two guys we mentioned are just too big for him. There's weight divisions for a reason. We're seeing it a lot at the moment. We're seeing it in MMA with guys stepping up to the weight division above. We saw it with Douglas Lima and Gegard Mousasi in the week. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but Lima's a brilliant welterweight fighter, 170 pounds in MMA, stepping up a guy who he looks the same size as, Gegard Mousasi, 185. But he was just too big for him in the fight. And I think the first, I'd say 4 rounds last night, even though they looked pretty similar sizes on the scales, and were nearly 3 stones difference, you could see Usyk being physically bullied by Derek early on in that fight. That first punch that sent Usyk into the ropes, he thought, this is game on here. He's got to call out Anthony Joshua. He's the mandatory challenger. There may be more to come from him. He is an extraordinary character. Derek is a very big man. I was sitting with Conor Benn all the way through the show last night, and he was convinced Derek was going to get to Usyk. And Usyk looked uncomfortable. I don't know if you agree, in the first third of the fight.
Yeah, I think Derek had his best success in the early stages of that fight in the first third of it. But, I mean, Alexander, he does tend to, even at cruiserweight, in the Braders fight, the Michael Hunter fight, even in the Bellew fight, he does take a bit of time and then takes over and then controls proceedings.
Yeah, it's his Ukrainian fighting style. They warm up. Vasyl Lomachenko does the same, and you'll have seen the news this week that he had shoulder surgery just after that fight as well, and didn't go into that fight well. So he didn't warm up for a very long time because his body never warmed up in that fight with Lopez. It never warmed up because he was injured. No, you're right. That's how Usyk fights. But, you know, to be 5 rounds down against a Joshua or a particularly Fury, I think is a hard fight for Usyk because he's so big. Fury might just keep him on the end of the jab all night, you know? They will not have been losing
in the rematch.
Yeah, exactly. From a southpaw stance, he hit him with more uppercuts than most boxers throw in a career in that fight. If you remember, switched to southpaw, hit him with a left uppercut all night long. It was unbelievable.
Okay, sticking with the heavyweights, of course, I mentioned Deontay Wilder's video where he called Mark Breland disloyal and also accused Tyson Fury of tampering with the gloves and cheating. What do you make of Deontay Wilder's comments?
Well, Deontay Wilder had clearly taken the Halloween pill last night. You know, he was haunting everyone, wasn't he? He was just haunting everyone. I mean, you know, Fury had cheated in the 2 fights that he needed to be a man and honour his agreement. As you say, Mark Breland, disloyal. I mean, my feeling is that talk from Deontay, who's been very quiet during lockdown, is because Fury is genuinely about to announce his December opponent. I would say probably tomorrow, if not later today. We're talking Sunday mid-afternoon, aren't we, at the moment? And, you know, I believe it'll be Carlos Takam. You believe it could be Agit Kitbayel. You know, it could be either of those two. I think it'll be Takam. I mean, I don't know, I hasten to add. I haven't got... That's just my instinct. Even though I did get a text from the Gypsy King last night. Didn't give me any info. Just asked how Russell was. But I felt like it was a tee up for an announcement coming. And I think that's what's brought Deontay Wilder out of his man cave, you know. He's suddenly, like, maybe regretting not taking this fight, you know, not taking the fight, even doing this behind closed doors and just agreeing to a lesser purse. He's got so much to gain with a victory. Got an Anthony Joshua fight next year if he wins it, you know? So I think it's his loss, and I think, you know, he brought it on himself, frankly, you know? Not that I'm not sympathetic, because it's a difficult situation because of lockdown. And, you know, if he doesn't want to give too much away and he believes in honouring the contract, and, you know, he's got to look at the bigger picture in the heavyweight division. You know, most people would agree that he was beaten twice by Tyson Fury anyway. And there'll have been people behind the scenes in the negotiations, in the business meetings, talking around Tyson Fury, who are saying, look, the public knows you drew the first fight, but the public knows that you won it. You got up in the 12th round and you won that fight. You won it on points. You won most of every other round, apart from the 9th when he went down. So This is the fight world. It's a business, you know. But Fright Night bought him out, didn't it? You know, that's so. It's for me. It's just it's a cry. It's a cry across the pond. You know, a shout, if you like, across the pond that he feels hard done by.
Well, as I said, it caught everyone by surprise, really, because we haven't heard from him for such a long time.
I don't buy the thing in the glove, though. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't. I mean, you know, casting aspersions about someone cheating in that way is a very serious thing in boxing, and I think they should take him up on that, you know, and come back. And I mean, I know Tyson Fury laughs about it, and you know, Tyson kind of cuffs sometimes, doesn't he, as well?
He's always done that, though. Always done.
Yeah, he does. He has. So did Joe Calzaghe. And if you go back to picture Joe Calzaghe, you see a similar thing as well, because he'd throw cuff, 1, 2, 3, because he would throw combinations of 5, 6, 7 punches sometimes, and some of them are. They used to call them slaps, didn't they? They'd insult someone by saying they only slap, but no, there's. I don't buy it. There's nothing in there, and I think that's casting aspersions on the morality of a fighter, and your hands are watched in the dressing room by the opposition.
Yeah.
So no, I don't buy it.
And especially in Nevada with that commission, you're not getting away with anything there.
I went in the dressing room at the Wilder Fury fight. The commissioners sit there the entire time. In fact, I was in there when Kenny Bayless was in there. That was my moment in there for a few minutes. So no, I'm not buying it. Sorry.
Before I let you do go, Gareth, I've got to mention what a knockout by Gervonta Davies last night. Knockout of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to look at it really as the knockout of the year. It's a very good point. It was unbelievable. And when you think he timed it on the ropes, and Leo Santa Cruz, the brilliant counterpunch, he threw those 3 or 4 punches. The way he arched or swiveled and threw it, man, he did the walk-off KO salute as well. He knew that when that landed, it was on the button. You know, it's funny, you know, last night I was talking about the lightweight division with Conor Benn. You know, we did a 3-hour show in TalkSport. Conor was there with me from 10 till 1 in the morning. And his theory amongst, you know, it's such a sexy division, lightweight. You know, we've got Devin Haney and Yuriorkis Gamboa coming up. I expect Devin Haney to win that handily. Luke Campbell and Ryan Garcia coming up. That's a fascinating fight. Has Ryan Garcia bitten off more than he can chew at this point in his career against a kind of spiteful, wizened, and very ambitious Luke Campbell? And we know how good he is. You know, Teofimo having just beat Vasyl Lomachenko. Lomachenko probably still wanting to prove something in the lightweight division. Who else is there? You know, I mean, it's Gervonta won the super feather and the lightweight title last night, didn't he? Both, because weirdly, both were on the line with the WBA. It was his fight to lose last night. But Conor reckons he's the best of all of those if he keeps his life on track. He thinks he thinks Gervonta Davies. Conor told me he thinks Gervonta is the one in that division. He's the one with the skills to pay all the bills in that division, you know? And you know, it was funny because he said that last night when we were on air, and look what Gervonta did last night. Unbelievable. Let's call it KO of the year. Yeah, it is. It was so sweet, you know? Yeah. And it was effortless from him in a weird way, wasn't it? You know?
It was. What I like about that division is these young lions like Lopez and Gervonta. I mean, they talk the talk, but they've actually walked the walk, which we don't often see in boxing and in sport. They're actually doing it. So let's see how Ryan Garcia gets on, because after what Lopez and Tank have done, you can't doubt him now, Garcia.
No. Well, I understand. You know, he'd said to his promotional company, and same with DAZN, and obviously that's the launch of DAZN going global as well. Remember, so he'd said, no, I don't want easy fights. I'm ready. Imagine if they could get all those guys in a World Boxing Super Series, you know, 8-man tournament. It would be amazing. And arguably the most talent-rich one we've ever seen. I doubt whether there's money to do it at the moment. Obviously, they can't get crowds together. And obviously with lockdown, the relief last night, by the way, with the not lockdown announced, was that professional sport can carry on. Thank goodness for that, you know, because that would have wiped out potentially, you know, the risk around Anthony Joshua's fight with Kubrat Pulev and Tyson Fury's fight heavyweight in December as well, because I know lockdown ends on December the 2nd, but potentially it could be extended. If the numbers don't go down, it could be extended. So thank God for that, because till December the 12th, you know yourself, Umar, because you'll have looked at the schedule. I've written it out myself. I've looked at my diary. It's cracking now every weekend.
It is.
And then we might as well have a month off. Do you know what I mean?
Dubois, Joyce, Joshua Pulev, Fury, whoever's going to fight. Billy Joe's back. Got Heffron, Bentley too.
Dillian White, Povetkin.
I got that one. I mean,
You've got the 3 women on the top of the card with Katie Taylor and Miriam Gutierrez. You know, it goes on and on and on. It's a really busy period till December the 12th. And then let's just have a month off, reset, start again, you know?
that's the spirit. On that note, Gareth A. Davies, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV as always. And I'm sure we'll catch up soon, all right? God bless.
Pleasure, mate.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.